What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I'm joined by Mr. VIP Frank Washington. How you doing today, sir?
I got my headset on, so I want you to know that I'm here, but I'm also there in the future. I am infinitely awesome, sir.
Both here and then?
Even in the future. Okay. How crazy is that? I was awesome in the past too. So it's a continuous timeline. How you doing? That's the part that the audio listeners miss. They can't see this.
You gotta catch the video. No, I'm doing great. I am doing great. Happy to be back again, talking about something else that we may or may not have enjoyed. We'll see. You gotta answer those questions on the show.
Even if you don't enjoy us, because we're enjoyable. We're like the last little bit of ice cream in your bowl. What? That's the best part.
I was just waiting to see where you were going with that.
I'm done with it. As in the last little bit of ice cream. You're done. Once it's over, it's done.
Yeah.
But not yet. This is the beginning. So
no, this is All Things Super. Every week we take a piece of superpower TV, movie, even trailers. We watch them, we review them, we react to them, we break them down, and we answer the question, is it super?
Is it?
Is it? But if you like that, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, which you miss some of the visuals if you don't listen to the audio version. But if that's something that you prefer, you can find us on all your major podcast streaming services. Just search for All Things Super. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments. I don't think y'all really noticed that part. I was in the comments the other day talking about something different from this show. Look at that.
I think it was the Creed trailer.
Hey, man.
What?
I thought it was across the universe.
I'm not crossing universes just by mentioning something else. We don't know if Creed exists in this universe. They never talked about Michael B. Jordan.
Everyone should be talking about Michael B. Jordan. Guy's super talented.
He is. He is incredibly talented. But for this episode, we are going to be reviewing episode 3 of Prime Video's The Peripheral.
Wait, what?
What?
Why'd you say it like that?
Say it like what?
Say it again.
Prime Video's The Peripheral.
Okay.
Did I mispronounce it?
I would never say something remotely close to that, sir. Not as many words as I mispronounce on this show.
Okay, so I'm confused now.
Who am I to say? It just sounded weird. Peripheral?
I mean, it's a lot of R's in there, and it's just peripheral. And sometimes it doesn't come out right.
Oh, hey.
No.
Welcome to the show.
But so we left off on episode 2. We have our heroes of the story, our protagonists. We have Flynn Fisher and her brother Burton Fisher. But their mother is dealing with a stage or a form of cancer rendered her blind. Now, this experimental drug that Flynn got produced from people in the future, gave it to her mom. Her mom can now see.
Isn't that a cool way to go about it, though? If they know the ingredients and those ingredients lived in the past, but no one has ever put them together until X point, clearly your mom died, but those ingredients exist, I can give the pharmacy the instructions to make this now to save your mom. Well, 55% chance to save her, which is better than no percent.
Yeah, but to me, and this is me just trying to think logically and apply logic to a fantasy show.
That's done in this show. We do that.
This is just the way my brain works. Would you, as a pharmacist, not question where this is coming from? Like, where you getting these
Well,
instructions to create this? Because this is obviously a medicine that doesn't exist in this current time. And so, as a pharmacist, you're getting instructed on how to create. Because do pharmacists normally get recipes on how to create medicines?
they do have some influence over the past. We clearly see that because they can track who's been in contact with the past.
Mm-hmm.
In the same episode, oh, wait, let me do this. Sorry.
I feel like it's been forever since we did it.
Well,
It was only just
welcome
been last week.
to.
There it
That
is.
is your official spoiler warning. Let you know if you haven't watched the Peripheral episode 3 on Amazon, you might want to go and do that. Because if not, you're gonna get into the good stuff, the spoilers. So if you're still here, okay. If you're still here, then
That means you want to hear what we have to say. We
thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Likes. We got the situation that first of all, I got to remember that Barrett was coming with the glizzy. They have influence over the past. They can see who put a hit out on her, and they monitor traffic. How much influence they have over the past is this sanctioned? Are these things sanctioned? Clearly not, because in the same episode, there's an individual that they didn't want to go up against, which Flynn asked. You guys are making that look like you're not sure what I'm saying.
I'm trying to remember. There's a person that they didn't want to go up against.
Well, when she came back, she looked back and she says, "You guys don't keep me in that box, right?"
Right.
And they were like, "Of course not." The next scene, they were having a conversation, and she was asking because they were trying to find a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to find a leader. So they were kind of brainstorming on what's going on and where to look and where to go. And that's what she was saying. That's when they were telling her, "Do you know Mr. Pickett?" Because
Right.
So in that conversation, or I could be wrong, go back and watch the show if I'm wrong, and tell me I'm wrong, and I can accept that. It's okay. They were talking about somebody going up against somebody, and they collectively wanted that not to be the option.
Okay. I might have missed that.
No worries. How much influence do they have over the past? Good question. I don't think pharmacists take recipes from anonymous phone calls.
Right. Just some facts.
Yeah, this is take 2 Alka-Seltzers and what is going on? Maybe they put it in as an order. I don't, but somebody did have to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So go ahead.
Yeah,
So Flynn got this. Her mother can see now.
Right.
We don't question these things.
No. Well, actually, Flynn and Burton were kind of questioning it. They're kind of trying to figure out, how do we tell people that miraculously our mother can see now? And
yeah, she's not gonna keep it a secret. She can see now. It's a miracle.
Right. And so Burton asked Flynn, "Well, what did you tell her that you got the medicine from?" And Flynn said she didn't ask. So obviously at some point the shit's going to hit the fan and questions are going to come around. How did you get this? How did you stumble upon this? Because the first thing they're going to say is that, how can you see? Oh, well, Flynn gave me this medicine. Well, what the hell did Flynn get it from? And then maybe they go back to the pharmacist. They're like, where the hell did you get it from?
That's when I'll be blind. Like, I don't know where it came from.
But they pose a question, and Flynn and Burton sort of discuss it, and then they kind of just they leave it, and it doesn't go into it.
Is it a plot point that's dropped?
No, I think it may come back. I feel like it's gonna have to come back at some point, because they'll have a lot of explaining to do, because all of the stuff that's going on right now, and we'll have to see. Because my recollection of that episode is a bit fuzzy. No, I was just saying that recalling everything.
They addressed it, which is very interesting. I actually thought we were going to see more of the mom
Mm-hmm.
because she could see. It was a quick throwaway.
And she
Flynn
was
checked
reading the
on her in the
newspaper.
morning. She was reading the newspaper as anybody would do who can see now.
Right.
Maybe not. I would be outside seeing the world, but that's again to each his own. You can do what you want with your eyeballs. So she's not in the rest of the story. I hit the spoiler warning earlier. So if
Right.
you're a fan of moms and you wanted more moms, this ain't the episode for you. But Flynn goes back in because, of course, she needs answers now. She wants to know what's going on all the way around the board. So she's
Right.
trying to get these answers, and then they tell her that there's a hit out on you, and she's like, "Okay, well, you got to send me back right now." And they're like, do we know?
Right.
I don't understand why it was a struggle conversation. Like someone's coming to
they were
kill
basically
me.
like, you were supposed to be here to help us, but now you were saying that you got to run back home. But it's like, if I don't run back home, I won't be able to help you because we're gonna die.
My God, help me, help you,
Right.
help me, help you. You know what I mean? Now they said that they were gonna, and I'm jumping all the way around on this episode because again, it's our show. We could do this. So they said that they were giving Flynn and her brother a boatload of money. Did they ever really say how much?
No, because in the last episode when we saw that the lottery winners, they said that the amount was 250,000. Now, anything beyond that, we haven't got any mention of them getting any additional money. But we see in this episode, not only did they buy the 3D printing shop, which I could not imagine would be very cheap, but
No.
Burton has also offered Mr. Pickett $200,000. Not just $200,000, not $200,000 a year, not $200,000 a month, $200,000 a week.
A week
in perpetuity. So that means forever, ever. Where is this money coming from? And how long? If it is coming from the future and they're wiring it to them every week or every so often, however, how long are they going to keep doing that to where you can keep up paying this? And it goes into the thing.
I have no idea. Why would he even make that agreement without knowing that information?
Because it's Burton. Burton's hot-headed.
Is Burton knowing more than what? Listen, you may have started out this show thinking Burton was, just a regular country boy. He's tactical.
He is tactical.
And there's no doubt in my mind that he knows more than what he's letting on.
You could be right. You could be right. But it's
You're on the list. You're on the list, Burton.
But yeah, Flynn goes in and she said that, obviously, somebody reached out to Pickett and now they've paid them. We see that they've deposited a large sum of money into his bank account. They reached out, through your timeline. And Flynn wants to go back so she can tell Burton, make sure that he's warned. Goes back. She finds out Burton has bought a car. Well, not bought a car, but rented a car. Burton's gone and
got some more gear.
Got that
glizzy.
They go to the 3D shop and he tells her that now he's bought the 3D shop and it's in her name, and after Flynn tells Burton about the, Pickett being the person that they pay to kill them, she tells him, don't do anything. I'm going to go back in. Don't do anything until I get back. He was like, kind of laughs it off and, kind of walks away. She's like, I want to hear you say it, that you're not going to do anything. And you can understand that because Burton is who Burton is. Like you said, he's tactical. So he's going to try to create a plan to devise a way to protect his family, which is admirable. But on the other hand, don't you think Flynn's kind of hypocritical when she's like, don't do anything until I get back, when she didn't even tell Burton about the medicine before she gave it to their mom?
Yeah, but at the same time, they buried that. It's under the hedge, under the water, under the
Well, because
bridge.
it worked.
Her mom can see. Yeah.
What would
So,
have happened had it not worked? Do you think Burton would have been
well, so what
pissed?
she's gonna do? She's gonna die faster. She was gonna die anyway. So you're kind of back against the wall on that one.
Yeah, but you also still want to cherish that time with your parent before they pass away, and
When you introduce some experimental drug that you got from or from not the future, you're absolutely right. But in context of it all, I think they got to a point that they found resolve. And like she was saying, she was going to go get the information. She was only telling him she already knew that they were on guard.
Right.
Because it was mercenaries that came. But now we need to be on more guard because the threat is not coming from outside that don't know us. The threat is coming from inside. As you see
inside the house.
That's weird. So you seen Pickett do something that you have never seen him do before in this show. He took out a whole arsenal of guys.
Oh, biker game.
He took them. He gave them everything they want. He started rambling off the list of
armor plating, bulletproof windows, remote locks.
This vehicle made me want one. I'm like, yes, sir.
But he basically
electrical handles.
Him explaining that was basically him describing everything that was going to keep them inside that car to kill him.
Basically. And you see he murdered these guys in front of his nephew. He had no remorse with it. In fact, strung some up on crosses.
But not only that,
take over the town.
His lesson to Jasper was sometimes you have to basically delight in other people's pain. Like spray those holes on them to show them with the water that they're not going to get. I'm like, damn, like you are traumatizing this child.
Oh, and we see that he has been traumatized to a point. I mean, Jasper still was around when Mr. Pickett took that shot glass and decided to introduce him to the Joker technique.
Yeah, Jasper was about to go to the bathroom. You told Jasper, sit your ass back down. You're going to see this.
You will watch this. You need to learn. This is not the dude that you want to mess with.
No,
Here comes Frank. Here comes... You can have it at this point because here he comes and he's telling him.
He's basically saying,
I got a carrot and a stick.
But the funny thing about it is that you would think that if Pickett wasn't already, in sort of trying to make a decision about what he was going to do, because we did get the scene earlier where he's swimming and his wife comes out. I didn't need to see a naked old man swimming in the pool. We didn't need the underwater shot. We really didn't. But so even though we get the introduction to her in the last episode when Pickett is in the Havana Club or whatever, she seemed like trophy wife, just arm candy, probably wouldn't even be much of a character. She comes out this episode. She's rational, she's logical. She's like, look, you have three options. You can do it, and if it's an actual sting, then you can live out the rest of your days in jail. You could not do it and just be done with it and not have to worry about it. But then she said you could also take the money and then not do it. Or you could take the money and then sit on it. Tell them that, I'm in prepper and I'm planning, and figure out exactly why these people are paying so much money to want the Fishers dead.
That's right.
And she's like, look, I'm breaking it down for you.
Not only had that, but had a recommendation on how to do it.
Right.
Move up the column again, because she was like, you could use Jasper. Because Jasper, wife, and Flynn are best friends.
Right.
Which we learned in the same episode is very much true. Flynn was just giving her
every single detail.
Walked her through everything. So she knows.
It's Burton off, because Burton is like, how can you tell? And I think that's kind of what spurned him to want to go talk to Pickett, because he tells her, like, how can you tell Billy Ann all of this information. He's like, Billy Ann's my best friend. Who you like? You Flynn's basically saying you have all your guys that you serve with, so you have your group, you have your people to turn to. I don't have anybody, so I talked to Billy Ann. He's like, well, who is Billy Ann married to, and who is Jasper's uncle? It's like you just told him
My
every single
God.
thing, like, and now you're
Right?
telling me that Pickett has taken money to kill us. So now he has all the information. He knows everything that's going on. Little does he know, Billy Ann hasn't told Jasper anything yet.
Not
Not yet.
yet.
But yeah, so he goes, and so I think that's what, is kind of like, okay, well, now I need to jump ahead of this and come to some kind of resolution. And so he goes to the bar, sits out on the patio, and first of all, of course, Pickett dismisses Jasper, like, Jasper, go take a walk or whatever. It's just traumatized the
Yeah.
kid. The kid is traumatized.
Okay.
So
Probably never look at holes the same.
probably not.
Garden hose. What are you thinking?
But so, like you said, Burton tells him I have a carrot and I have a stick. He said, well, what's your carrot? He's like, I don't know what you're into, but apparently we got your attention, and now you're going to be coming after us. He's like, I know this. And Pickett's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, okay, lie if you want to. I don't care. But be that as it may, he said, I'll offer you $200,000 a week.
A week.
For you
A week.
to leave my family alone, not come after us. You don't bother us, we don't bother you. And so he's like, well, I'm intrigued to know what the stick is. And so he starts telling him about these haptics that we saw in the last episode. How these military members link up. They're able to electronically synchronize themselves. And so Burton goes into the whole story. He basically said, small rural towns is where the military recruits from. That's their demographic to put these people into these haptic programs. But he said that we are connected. It's almost like one person. What I feel, they feel. What they feel, I feel. What I see, they see. And he said, so you come after my family. If something happens to me, then you're not just going up against me. You're going up against everybody that I've ever served with. And Pickett's holding the glass. So I think the glass was on the table and just sniped. He's like, the next one to be in your head. So, do we have an agreement? Do we have a deal? And I feel like it's threatening. Yes. But of course, Pickett is not a stupid man. He'll take the deal. And then he's going to figure
just
out.
Make you want he's the type of guy that loves a challenge.
Right.
But he reminds the audience, as we got the end result. Again, it's very clever how they did this episode. We started it off with a flashback, confirm the end results of the flashback in the future.
Right.
Caught how we did that? The results of the flashback, when you say pull them crosses out, we've seen the aftermath of that as a like a news article in the future. But Flynn had already heard the stories.
Right.
So all she's doing is seeing a visual that somebody had more than likely told her, didn't really want to watch. It was very uncomfortable for her. And that's another parallel that I want to talk about too, because if you notice, we've gone from timid Finn to she blowing them heads off right now. Yeah, she's knocking them heads off.
More assertive, more aggressive. But so in parallel to, and you know how I like my parallels. If you watch us in any episode, you know I like my parallels.
Together. You like them together. They normally are together.
in parallel to Burton talking about his haptics, we get the future where Flynn and Wilf, and there's another flashback that we got. And so it sort of confirmed as to what I was saying before, how I thought Alita called him Wolf, but everyone else was calling him Wilf. And so we see in a flashback Alita and Wolfgang when they were kids,
That's
they
right.
came into an orphanage together and they ended up getting adopted together. But in them getting
That's right.
adopted, first off, the adoptive parents only wanted to adopt Alita. They didn't want Wolfgang. And so when I guess the worker at the orphanage said that they came in together and Alita said, I'm not leaving without him. And so
Right.
the husband of the adoptive parents says, Wolfgang is a bit of an unconventional name. Would you be willing to change your name to something else like Wilfred? And so Alita didn't want to. Alita's shaking her head at him, and she's like,
Yeah, because
you're
it takes a
giving up your
little.
name. This is something that is you. But he says, I could be Wilfred. So it makes sense now why she still calls him Wolf, and they call him Wilf.
It
But so
does.
Wilfred and Flynn.
Time out. Time out.
Oh, I see.
Thought we was delivering some.
Ah,
Yeah, give me a second. Let me see what she's. Give me a sec.
okay. So what was I? Oh, right. So Wilf and Flynn are driving around town, trying to figure out exactly where Alita was last seen. And so we get
Well, the snow fell in London.
well, no, we didn't get that. We didn't get there yet. We hadn't gotten there yet. This was the first time that we're driving around, and
Oh, this is true. Yes.
yeah. So, of course, Flynn is trying to remember from what she saw, the night that she went into the future the first time, and she was in Burton's Peripheral. So she's trying to remember where they turned, and she couldn't quite remember. So we'll suggest let's get out and we'll walk for a bit. And so he said, you go right, I'll go left, we'll split up. But before we
You go
do,
your way, I'll go my way. That's what it is.
we're going to link up haptically. And so, like I said, parallels, Burton was explaining the haptic links in the past,
Uh-oh.
and now we're seeing how they function in the future. So instead of the little diagrams that Burton had in his arms and everything like that, in the future, they have haptic connections just through fingertips. And so he shows her the little movement of what to do on how to
Play the smallest violin.
play the world's smallest violin.
There
But
you
now
go.
they're haptically linked, and he says that what I see, you see, what you see, I see. And she said, oh, it's like, I'm feeling kind of nauseous. And you can turn down, like an opacity level, you can turn it up and turn it down,
Right?
how deep you
That's
want to get into
crazy.
somebody's brain. And so, but when she
Not
said that
nice, man.
when she said I'm feeling nauseous, Wolf said, "Oh, that's probably my hangover that you feel." And so he tells her how to turn it down and turn it up and everything. And so she says, "Well, what do I feel like?" And you can see that Wolf wasn't being honest in that moment because he's like, "It's all sunshines and rainbows with you," and she even was like, "Fuck off." Like she knows that he's
She
not
knows how
telling her.
to.
Right. She knows
Yeah.
she knows what she got going on in that. But so
Right.
they break off into their separate directions. And Flynn, of course, is in the future for the first time. So of course she's looking like a tourist. So she's
Of
walking
course.
around
Who
looking
wouldn't?
lost, and it draws the attention of this police bot. And so they are, I think Flynn feels the police bot kind of following her, so she looks back and she tells she tells Wilf, I'm being followed now. And so Wilf dials into Ash, who's back at the house or the mansion or whatever.
Let's call it a compound.
Yeah, it's pretty much a compound. It's a whole sprawling area of
It's
land.
the big money.
Right, big money. But so he calls back to Ash. I can't even remember what he was asking her. But was asking her if the peripheral was registered, and I think she said that it wasn't. So if they get found out, and they take you in and take the peripheral in. It's like basically like Mission Impossible. We're gonna disavow any knowledge that you exist.
Wow, that's how you go do it, brother, huh? That's
Just
how
hang him out to
he's
dry.
ain't
If you
loyal.
get found
This is
out,
why he
you are
drinks.
on your own.
This is why he drinks, because it's like there's no loyalty in this group.
And there really isn't, and we're going to talk about why in just a second. But so Flynn
Here we
catches,
go.
Wolf catches up with Flynn, and he comes up with this whole story. This is, he gave him a fake name. This is my girlfriend, and she's visiting from, I forget what he said. I think he said that she was visiting from New York or something like that. He's like,
Something like that.
oh well, we requested 3, but then she wanted to do a 4th, and go through this whole story of everything, how the peripheral is modeled after his ex-girlfriend, but this is his new girlfriend. And he's like, I know I fucked up because I shouldn't have did that, but I can't, stop thinking about her and stuff like that. And so it sounds like he's starting to confess these feelings for Flynn.
That's right. That's right.
And so they share a kiss because, of course, public displays of affection even makes robots uncomfortable in the future, apparently. Because you think if it's a robot, they operate off of logic. And it doesn't matter what you said. The law is the law. This this trip wasn't registered. You're not supposed to be here, so you need to turn this peripheral over to me. And so they kiss. And we see that, of course, what's happening in, the mindscape, the future, whatever you want to call it. We see Flynn back in the past sitting in the chair. She's feeling the physical and the emotional, all of it is going through. And so Wolf tells Flynn to ask the drone, am I free to go home? And that was a signal to Ash to deactivate her. And so she got deactivated. The bot was like, yeah, y'all can go, but, get your papers in order and everything. So they go off. Flynn comes back to the present time, and she asks Burton, what do your haptics feel like? He's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Well, why are you asking? And she's like, well, I experienced I've experienced it, or a version of it. And Burton explains to her, it can feel like love. Your mind becomes the other person's mind. You share everything, about that person. You become in tune with their emotions, just like you're in tune with your own. He said, if it feels like love, if you didn't know any better. And we can see how Flynn is sort of contemplating that. It's like, okay, so I started feeling these feelings for Wilfred, but is it actually the feelings, or was it the haptic
just
connection?
the side effect of the linking process?
Right.
You know how in Avatar you put your little tails together? Same thing. Same exact goddamn thing.
Yeah.
But now you put your fingertips together.
Well, you put your fingertips together on your own fingertips. So.
Well, yeah, I bet you if you do like that, you get a little spark.
Maybe.
Anyway,
they probably
the
overload the whole
thing about
thing.
it is cool that in the future you can link up or sync up with the person of your choice. It's kind of like a Zoom call in your mind, or a Teams call, because you're all in the virtual space.
Yeah, but it's more of like a kind of a reverse FaceTime. Because you FaceTime and then you're walking and you're looking at another person while they're looking at you. But in this way, the cameras are reversed because you can see. Yeah, it's FaceTime without the face. You can see what they can see. They can see what you can see. Just time. That's all it is. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. Into the future.
Right now. You play it back as a bop.
It's a bop.
Play it in reverse is a stop.
So Flynn ends up going back to the future. But before Flynn goes back, we see, of course, the flashback of Alita and Wilfred being adopted. And so now we go visit Wilfred's adopted mother. And so he asks his mother, well, when was the last time Alita was here? And she's like, I don't know. It's been a long time. But she said, you're not asking the right questions. What you want to ask me is, when's the last time I saw Alita? And it's like, damn. Like, you think about it and it's like, okay, makes sense. And like, that is the right question, because that's what he wanted to know. When was the last time you saw her? And so she said that she saw
But
her.
here's the thing, though. We got a lot happened in that short scene. We got a strong indication of their upbringing.
Right.
That it was, you bake her nothing, but the standards were definitely high. There's probably not a lot of playing, more focused on books or academics or even fencing or,
Yeah.
bridge club or polo or something
Right.
along those lines. Those upper echelon lines that you have when you're at that level. And there were some things that happened in that house that's unforgivable.
Right. Because we
They
get.
didn't even go to their father's funeral.
Yeah, she says, I'm still upset. Not even just one of them, both of you. I'm still upset at both of you for not attending your father's funeral.
But the love is real because you can see through the drone that she has, she has plastered
Right.
Alita's face off. She plastered Alita's face on this drone.
So
And
clearly she
expect
misses
Wolf
her
not
daughter.
to understand.
Right.
I'm surprised if she doesn't have one of him
She may,
somewhere tucked
maybe.
away.
She pulls it off on
But
special
did,
occasions.
but did she leave? We saw her leave at the beginning of the series. They're sitting on a bench talking to each other. Then she leaves right in front of him. She
Yeah.
kind of like, again, we're wondering if it's like a Matrix type of situation. She kind of like logs out
Yeah.
because the little girl is sitting there.
Right. And
And
I'm
it's a,
wondering
it's a
why.
little girl.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, why, now that we know a little bit more about who she is, why does she appear to him as a child? Because it wasn't like it was just a peripheral where it was a body and then she logged out of the body and the body walked away. That was like the girl herself disappeared, was gone.
There are many questions that still left to be answered. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because if you notice, the mom says she threw her tantrums like she does in the sense of it was technical. It was, and I may not be quoting it exactly, but it said something to do with programming, the way it was phrased.
Mm-hmm.
She threw it like a little technical hissy fit or something like that. But it was the way it was phrased makes me think that she's somehow in the system of the future.
Yeah.
Somehow this is still somewhat of a simulation. Are we a simulation? Are you a simulation? Can you see us right now? Are we in your top 5? If not, you better move us up because we're here in the future.
But so the mom tells Wolf, basically the last time I saw her, she well, she told him when the last time she saw her, and he said, well, did she say anything? Did she tell you where she was? And like, how she is, always love her riddles. He said, well, what was the riddle? And she said, I am where the snow last fell in London. And
What a snow fell! You don't know that? That's my favorite part.
Wolf did not know it. Wolf said this doesn't make any sense. And so, of course, the mom can't figure it out. So we get Flynn back into the future. And, I don't think that the owner of the compound, I think his name is Lev or Leave or something like that. The multi-billionaire, whatever he looks like, the guy who seems to be funding all of this. I don't think he and Ash and the other guy, I don't think they know, because obviously they're all looking for Alita. They said that she worked at the research institute. He talking about how she was there on research to Flynn's timeline. But they have Wolf trying to find her. Did he specifically picked Wilf because of his relationship with I keep saying Allison
Makes sense.
with Alita, or do they not even know about his relationship with Alita? Because
Oh,
it
I think
seems
it's
like,
very well known that they're brother and sister.
because I was thinking that it seemed like when because the thing about it is in the last episode we had Wilf, he ran into Alita on the street and he talked to her. He just didn't know where she was or where she was staying. And so he never told them that he talked to her. So do they know of his relationship with her?
I think there's nothing that they want more so than is to track a leader down and find out what she knows. Clearly, we've stolen something. Don't let the wildness fool you.
Right.
We kidnapped the lady, took out her eye, perceivingly she's dead now, right?
Yeah.
Because Flynn asked about her,
Mm-hmm.
and Wolf said that,
She's gone.
in a nutshell,
She's
gone.
gone.
So that was horrible. So now we got the eye that we put in the old sim.
Mm-hmm.
But remember when we were making our way through this thing using the stolen eyeball to open up the doors, when we got to the jackpot, he tried to use the eye. The other one. And as you
Right.
notice, Alita held his face there.
It
We're
wasn't
looking at a hijacking download.
right. Exactly.
Something happened. And whether it's in Flynn's mind or the old hard drive, which I don't think it's in the old hard drive, because
I think it's in.
remember,
Yeah, I
the
think
guy
it's in
said
Flynn's mind.
we're going to take it apart and figure out where you came from anyway.
Right.
So I think it's in Flynn's mind.
Yeah.
We haven't got to that part yet, but I think that part's definitely coming because, well, why else would we make it a part of the story?
Right.
Simple and plain, just realistic about it. But the question is, what does she not know? Because it's in there and she doesn't know it's there. I'm sure she'll figure it out because she's intelligent when the writers need her to be, and she's not intelligent when they don't need her to be,
Right.
which we'll talk about right now. We just did. If you didn't get it, then you're not as intelligent as I need you to be.
Wow.
They're more intelligent than I need them to be. What? So, they don't wow me. I do the wow around here.
Not the way that's not the way that those words work.
Words work interchangeably. You can say the word or you can say word. Okay.
So we also get introduced to, or we get more of an introduction into this lady, Charisse, or Dr. Newland,
there you go.
Your titles do matter. Make sure I put respect on her name. Dr. Newland, who obviously is the one who is spearheading this whole thing of trying to find Alita, make sure she gets back whatever they stole, and kill the Fishers. And so the guy, David, what was his name?
I think his name was David.
Daniel.
That's what I didn't say.
And so Daniel is, he's reporting back. He's the grunt. He's the henchman. He's the one that's going reporting back to the boss, having to come back, telling her that he failed again. And so she's like, it shouldn't be this hard to kill a woman in the past. So
it's almost Disney like Cruella DeVille almost like it's not hard to kill a little girl. What's going on? You're supposed to be a big bad mercenary. You can't kill a little girl.
And she basically says, you have to understand that you are expendable. You are here because I like you. I appreciate your work ethic, but don't make that into, or don't take that into thinking that I will not kill you if I need to. And she asked him about information about Alita, and she basically said that Alita had or she worked with this other woman who I don't see her name on the cast listing, but she basically was college roommates with this person who works at the research institute. So obviously,
Mm,
this is some type of connection with how
mm.
Alita was able to have, because obviously this woman works in a different section than where Alita worked. And so how else would she know about all of this information? So we see Dr. Newland threaten Daniel. She basically, they're like, we were talking about the air purified statues. They're on whatever the 30th floor of this statue, and
Higher.
probably higher because those statues are huge. Um,
Yes.
but so she waves her hand, and the whole patch of the balcony just drops out, and she's about to push Daniel off of it. It's like, I don't want you to work because you're afraid of me, because that's the weakest type of motivation. She's basically saying, I want you to get this done, and I want you to be motivated to do so because you want to make sure that you get it done because I'm asking you to get it done. Not because you're afraid of me, but because you have a sense of duty to me. And so we see that's
Notice this.
reflected because he's thinking that it's this open gap in the balcony. Dr. Newland walks across it, but when she's about to walk across it, he tries to save her. So that's that loyalty, that allegiance. Because if he was afraid of her and he was like, I don't want to do this, the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm afraid. If she walked off, he's scot free. She dies,
Exactly.
I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to be afraid anymore. But the fact that he was like, Dr. Newland, wait, and tried to protect her, that shows I'm here for you. I
Got
got your back.
him! Got him! Got him! The crazy part about it is, if you go watch that scene closely, and for those people that believe behind the scenes, we're thinking, "Oh, that's just a screen." She's able to walk on it because it's just a monitor or something. Go back and watch this scene. They were smart enough to put in wind.
Mm-hmm.
You seen her clothes was
Blowing in the wind.
blowing in the wind. So the idea is it's not a screen. This is gone. And then she walks across it. What powers does the good doctor have? Because later on, which I don't want to jump too much in the future, pun intended, when we have the conversation with the other doctor, scientist,
Mm-hmm.
about the bees. You're too deep into the show not to know what's going on. Uh, that's not powered. That's science. That's
right?
tech, right? So we're merging the science with the magic.
Technology, or maybe it is just
What's
technology.
going on? What's going on in this show? There's a lot of questions that's not really getting answered yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, I'm enjoying the journey, trying to figure it out. But these questions.
Right.
So does she have powers? Does she not have powers?
I mean, I feel like we've seen.
Are you in a simulation?
I feel like we've seen a good amount of futuristic technology up to this point, and just like she waved her hand and all of the ground went away. So I don't think it's anything mystical or magical like powers.
But we
I think
also
it's all just
saw we also saw Brent shoot his finger and break a glass, but showed it was a sniper.
right.
These symbolisms, right? Is it tech or is it because from Mr. Pickett's side, he just shot his finger and the glass broke.
Yeah.
He said the next one's going in your ear. Now, is Pickett thinking he didn't look out yonder to see where his shot came from?
Mm-hmm.
He was looking in amazement, like, how were you able to break this glass? We got the same simulation. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that it wasn't amazement in how did you break this glass. I think it's like amazement in I didn't think somebody would be so bold as to try to take shots at me.
Clearly, Pickett been sitting on the throne, the Iron Throne, because he got too comfortable. That throne cuts and infects. You got too comfortable at the top. Listen, there's no reason, and I love this about this show, and I'll just go ahead and throw that out there without giving you an answer to the ultimate question. One of the things Figure did, he didn't just jump on the money. He didn't say, "Oh, they deposit the money. This shit's real." He was like, "This could be entrapment. I don't know what this is. I'm not even about to do that." Had a conversation with his wife, letting her know what's going on with his wife, letting her know what's going on, and now they're strategizing and putting a plan together like a boss does. And now he's looking at all the options because again, Jasper comes in. Jasper has the delivery of the dollars that Brent offered. And the question comes up, Burton, excuse me. Where are they getting all this money? We talking about $200,000 a week.
Right.
Let me say it again slowly. $200,000 a week. You'll be a millionaire before. Okay, I'm not gonna do the math.
But
that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. But we see that Jasper is bringing Billy Ann home, and we don't know the conversation that they had in the car before we get to that scene. So we don't know if Billy Ann obviously hasn't really told anything because I think Jasper is still a little bit clueless. But Billy Ann is saying that, well,
he's not as smart as you think.
No, I'm saying he's clueless, and when he goes talk to his uncle, he doesn't seem to really know anything.
I think this is a situation because he doesn't want to involve himself. It's kind of like the thing, you can't pick family, right? And it's kind of like, I don't really want to involve myself, but my uncle kind of looks out for me, but I don't really want to mess with him.
The man is traumatized.
Yes, exactly. He's the victim here.
But so Billy says that she's gonna get out and she's gonna go cook dinner, and so Jasper says, well, I can't, I gotta go drop something off on my uncle. And she said, what is it? Just a bag. Like, you better not be drugs. And he's
better not be drugs.
And he said, because we see that Jasper respects his wife's feelings, he said, no, I wouldn't do that. Uncle Pickett wouldn't let ask me to do that because he knows how you feel about it. I told him how you feel about it. I wouldn't do that. So Billy Ann opens up the bag. It's $200,000, and so she's like, "What is this for?" He said, "I don't know. I didn't ask." And so she closes up the bag. She gets out of the car. She's like, "Just come back home." Essentially, she's like, "Whatever you're doing, just
figure out what's going on."
Figure out what's going on because she knows what's going on with Flynn and Burton, and now this money is being handed. So she's like, what I want you to do is I want you to figure this out.
Now, is Jasper gonna get killed?
Is Jasper gonna what?
Listen, we talk about this all the time, right? Don't be the messenger. Don't be the messenger.
We've seen some messages not make it.
Listen, that's not what you want to do. Say, go tell something. Nah. No, I'm gonna write it down. You take it over. Nah.
Better send a raven.
That's all you can do. Don't be a messenger.
Ravens come back.
Jasper is going to get the information that's necessary, and he's going to have to deliver that message.
Right.
And the question is, enhanced soldiers.
Who does he
already know you're coming?
Right. But so here's the thing. So in Burton's mind, he's delivered the money. He didn't deliver the money, but Jasper picked it up from the 3D printing shop. So before I get into this question, so Jasper takes the money, he delivers it to Pickett, and Pickett gives him a value of life lesson. We see before Jasper gets out, he opens up the bag. The last thing that Billy Ann told him was, don't you dare take any of that money. Don't take a single dollar out of it. And so we see when Jasper's about to get out, he opens the bag and he takes 2 wads out. You can see he's kind of contemplating, Was he
He's
really going
thinking
to count
about it.
it? I could take it.
No.
Billy Ann told
And
me
if
not
he's
to.
short, I could just blame it on,
Blame it on the Fishers. But then it's like all of these thoughts, then does that get the Fishers get them killed because now they don't have that agreement? What's going to happen? And then if he finds out that I took the money, is that going to get me killed?
There's no way you can run at that point.
Right.
You cannot run out of time fast enough.
So he puts the money back, zipping it up, goes bring it to his uncle. His uncle asks him, "Did you look inside of it?" He said, "No, I did not." Of course, he's lying.
It's a transport.
I never opened a trunk. And so he was like, "Not even a little peek?" He was like, "No, not a peek, but I could kind of tell what it is just by the feel of it." And he was like, "Well, what do you think it is?" He said, "Money." So Pickett opens up the bag, goes, sifts through it, offers Jasper a stack. Jasper is like, "Oh no, I couldn't. Nah." He's like, I can't take it." He's like, "No." Pickett says, "Go on, take it. Take it. I insist. Take it."
Now we talking about a stack like 10 grand, because usually it's a bandage of 10 grand stack.
Right. And so
ain't enough.
ain't enough. So Jasper takes the money. He's like, "Thank you." He's like, "Thanks, huh?" And so Pickett tells him, "Now I want to teach you a valuable life lesson. Anytime somebody offers you money, the first thing you should ask is, what do you want in return?" And so immediately hearing that, Jasper was like, "Oh shit, you about to ask me to do something I really don't want to do." He tries to give him the money back. He's like, no, you've taken it already.
You take it.
And so they go through this whole conversation and they end up on the question, where are the Fishers getting all this money from? And so Pickett says, that is what I want from you. As far as they're concerned, they've paid the money, so he thinks that they're on good terms. So if Jasper's coming around for anything, it's not going to be in any type of, aggressive demeanor, because we paid y'all. We good. We paid y'all. You agreed. Leave us alone. So it would be safe to assume that if Jasper is coming around, Burton's not going to suspect he's trying to gather intel on them. But so here's the question that I want to pose. Is that if Jasper finds out information, both Billy Ann and both Pickett have asked him to find out what's going on. Who did he tell first?
Well, he's going to tell his wife first.
Is he?
Yeah, because just proximity. But
what if he goes straight back to his uncle after he finds out what it is?
He better go make his way over there to his uncle at some point in time, because chances are news don't stay hush hush in a small town.
There's a show that I watch called Letterkenny, and one of the sayings that they have is "bad gas travel fast in a small town."
Oh wow, that's horrible.
But it's like you said, news doesn't stay silent too long when everybody knows everybody. And so exactly. If he does not,
makes you wonder if they're going to stand out with all this new stuff that they're buying over there on the farm, and right. Your mom can see
right
what's going on over there, man.
It's like, I understand y'all want to hang out.
Y'all got the,
I understand y'all want to hang out, but why have y'all been here for 5 weeks? Like, what's really going on?
And here's something that we didn't mention. What's the sheriff's name?
Tommy
was seeing the handshake transpiring between Pickett and Brent.
Yeah, Burton.
Burton. That was his name with a B.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he sees that handshake and he knows that, and we see that, or we even get explain that Corbett is a narcotics manufacturer. He makes drugs. We get to see an actual visual of that later on in the episode. But Tommy knows that. Everybody in the city knows that. So if I see you shaking hand with Pickett, obviously, I mean, you getting into some illegal shenanigans. Yeah.
Y'all are in an agreement of some shape, form, or in fashion.
And this is the day or however many days after I just left your land, find these 2 futuristic cars with a big 5.56 round inside of it. And now you're shaking hands with Pickett. It's like, what's really going on?
I know what's going on. They want some of that sweet, sweet juice. That's it. It's just the juice.
But like we said, we don't know where this money is coming from. We don't know exactly how long they're going to be funding this money to the Fishers. Is that whenever, Flynn is done and they,
Yeah, it's just
they
a
find a
missing person,
leader,
right?
right,
They find
right.
a leader. It's it.
It's it. But
There's no way this is going on forever. Why would he make that deal?
don't know. No idea.
Because if you can't pay,
They coming after you after that.
promises.
Because it's not like the research institute or whoever in the future is going to be like, oh shit, they won, oh we lost, go ahead, call off the hit. Go back to the past, call off the hit. Like, what do they care?
Not when you over here spiking tea. You're not calling no hit off.
Right.
You're not going too far.
But
something in your
so the last thing we see is Flynn going back to the future. She's talking to Wolf. Wolf tells her about the riddle. I'm at the place where the snow last fell in London. And so Flynn, again, going back into Flynn's resourcefulness and why she's such a good gamer. But it just shows that Flynn is intelligent. Like Billy Ann was telling her, like, you're wasting your talents here at this 3D printing shop. You could be anything that you want to be. You have the intelligence to do so. And so Flynn makes a deduction. Well, what if it's not a place, but a person? What if Snow is actually a person? And so
like Asgard.
It's not a place, it's a people. But so they figure out the exact street where Snow, I forget who Snow, the person that they were talking about, he did something significant in London. But
like John.
His name was Jon Snow, actually.
I know nothing.
His name was Jon Snow. But so they find the exact place where he died. And so they get into this small alleyway where we saw Flynn in Burton's Peripheral deliver the body of the woman. And so Flynn remembers, walk up to the brick wall, say, I've arrived. Brick wall opens like a curtain. And so
way to shout back out the first episodes, right? I was like, cool. And shout out to the production team that made the bricks look like a curtain.
Yeah.
Because from the other side, to say it's a secret magical door, it looks so believable. Like you could still see the brick pattern inside of the curtain.
Yeah, it was really well done. And so we go navigating through the area and we get into the exam room where when Flynn was in the Burton sim where they took out the peripheral's eye and then put in the woman's eye. So we get the two doctors or nurses who was attending to him. They're on the floor, all shriveled up. And so
you can say it. They're dead.
They are dead. Well,
dead.
I mean, are they dead because they weren't necessarily alive? They were robots operating on autopilot.
They're robots in disguise.
So Flynn asks what happened. Will says that these peripherals have been abandoned and haven't had a hydration bath. And so now they're all dried and shriveled up. And so Wolf takes a chip out of one of the peripherals' necks. And they find, if I remember correctly, they find another chip that was Alita's.
Yeah, she took hers out.
She took hers out. She's so.
Look how nice she had left it all in a little,
Right. And so obviously this was a place where she was, but clearly she's not here anymore and she doesn't want to be tracked. And so they're getting ready to leave. And Daniel pops up. Don't know how. don't know how they found. I don't know if they were following Wolf or tracking, Flynn or whatever.
The wall move like a curtain. I knew it had to be there. Whatever that wall turned into shower curtains.
So Daniel shows up. He got a little shiny pack-a-punch gun. And so he
That's a
comes in.
whack-a-mole edition.
He comes in, he blows them back, and they get into a fight. And there's another one of these faceless drones that's fighting Wilfred. And so Wilfred is seeing Flynn sort of get.
Gonna have better hands than that. I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna have some. Thought he was gonna come out with that monkey paws, do something
No,
magical.
And it's I guess a difference between a peripheral fighting a robot, because we saw in the first episode the Burton peripheral was able to hold his own, whereas Wilfred, who's
put an eye out.
Wilfred, who's a human, or at least we assume it's a human, may not have those heightened abilities. But so Daniel's blasting away at Flynn, and he even knows that Flynn was he knows that we hear that he regards to her. He was like, so we meet again, Flynn Fletcher. So he knows that she was in the other peripheral, and like you said, they took it all apart. So he probably learned that, and so he's blasting her. They're getting into it. Wilfred gets away from the bot. The bot lands on the ground, and as the bots land on the ground, we see Dr. Newland sort of, haptic in. Now she can see through the bot's eyes, and she can hear. Flynn ends up getting the best of Daniel, gets the gun out of his hand, and is about to blast him away. And so basically she's telling him to talk. He's like, do you think you're going to get away? You stole something and we're going to get it back. And Flynn asks him, what did I take? And before he could even answer, Bot jumps up.
Yeah, you're not about to do that. You ain't about to tell trade secrets. Right. I ain't even going to give you a chance. Cut your neck open like a sandwich bag from Ziploc. Just open. Ain't nothing but goodies coming out there. That's a Jello pudding. With the extra O's.
With the extra O's.
Well, clearly she didn't want him to talk.
No.
Because she assassinated him quick.
Yeah.
And at that point, Lynn picks up the glizzy, the shiny one, and give that sweet emotion straight to the. The doc had to feel that because she.
Oh yeah, she winced at it.
Yeah. So clearly, when you're doing these things, there's some level of. I mean, we said this in the other episode. You feel pain.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how much pain she felt because she jumped into an actual faceless drone,
right?
Versus whatever cybernetic connections they have for a more sim body. I would think they're somewhat the same, at least on a practical level.
Yeah, because we saw when Flynn was getting shot, how her peripheral we've seen, because when Wilfred pulled the tracker out of the nurse's neck, you saw that the blood is like greenish in the peripherals. And so you see Flynn getting shot and she's taking all this damage and her peripherals starting to like bleed from the mouth, bleed from the face, and all this other kind of stuff. So we, flash to the present day a little bit. And so we see these hits are actually taking a toll on Flynn. But I think it goes back to that training that Alita kind of gave her. Like, you're feeling this intense pain, but steady yourself. And so Flynn was able to like play like not dead, but play injured to distract Daniel enough to where she could get the upper hand and get the gun out of his hand.
Are we gonna look at a point that she's not gonna be able to be hurt again?
No,
because she could catch the realism from the simulation.
Possibly not hurt in a sense to where it's going to affect her.
Remember when she had the surgery, they didn't hold her down.
No, they didn't. They didn't hold her down. Yeah, and they didn't give her any type of sedatives or anything like that. But we also see that there's after effects, ramifications of being in this machine, because now she's starting to lose control of her hand. She says sometimes her hand clenches when she doesn't want it to.
Yeah, because
So
you seen what they did to
obviously,
her
it's taking a
hand.
toll on the body.
Of course, like all things that is outside of your body, it starts to take a toll on you at some point. But it's not discouraging her from getting back in the sim.
No,
She's getting
absolutely
back
not.
in that thing and she's swinging that dead hand around as much as she can. You know what I mean? She's throwing it out there to say, "Hey, Wolf, look at this. Look at this right here. You see that hand? Your sister did that. When I catch her, I'm gonna shove this hand right." Anyway, listen, we've come to the point we have to ask this question. Spider, I know you said something about it last time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still stand on those merits or have your views changed? Is this show super?
Well, we're going episode by episode. It's hard to say if the show is super before the show is over. But as far as episode 3, yeah, I would say episode 3 is super because we get this episode of it was a lot slower pace because we started off episode 2 basically with a firefight. So it was a little bit slower pace. We're getting a little bit more of the exposition as to who people are. We get the flashback to Pickett to see how, what type of person he is. And so we get a little bit more of an understanding on, what's going on with Wolf and his connection with Alita. And so we didn't have a lot of action until the latter half of the episode. We got the B scene, that was like more suspense than action. But no, now we get the fight scene at the end of the episode. And so I appreciate it's not like the show is not going to be like all one way. It's not going to be all this or all that. It's not going to be all action. It's not going to be just all talking and drama. It's different portions of it. So yeah, I would say that I felt like this episode and its differences where they kind of flipped the what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of flipped the formula on its head because episode 2 you started off with action and then go into a little bit of exposition. Episode 3 you start off with the exposition and then go into the action. So all I have to say is yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I think it's still super.
So you're saying one way or another, they're gonna find you. They're gonna get you.
That's not what I said at all.
One way, maybe next. Okay.
Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, I know you reserved judgment last time on if you were going to say if the Peripheral was super. Are you still reserving judgment, or would you like to weigh in on what you think about the show?
I knew this time was coming, and I couldn't do anything to prevent it. Like time does, it comes, and now we're here. I thought I could have an answer for you guys. I can't give you an answer. I wouldn't be doing it justice. Am I intrigued? Yes. Am I going to watch continuously? Yes. I would love to see where the story goes. Is it super? There's some things that need to get answered, okay? There's some things that need to get answered. I really need to know what's this secret that Flynn's holding on to inside of her mind that we're chasing to a point that we're going to kill for. I think I need to know that along with some other answers before I can cast my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion if what show is super or not. Is it a good show? Yeah. Should you watch it? Yeah, you should. I think it's probably the best thing on TV right now. And I'm more than willing to have that conversation about what you think is the best thing on TV right now versus this being on TV right now. Leave it in the comments. But is it super? Let's wait to see what we can get. Listen, I'm being responsible with this. I'm not just throwing supers out there all willy-nilly. You get a super, you get a super, you get a super, you get a... I'm actually getting invested into these stories and these shows and these characters, plot points and developments and motivations and all these things that I look at to deem whether a show is super or not. So if you feel like, man, I just sat through this whole conversation and he ain't even answered the question at the end, you're absolutely correct. And I want you to make sure you come back next time to see if I not answer it again. it's worth the conversation, and that's what this show is known for. Great conversations about some of your favorite movies and TV shows. So come back next week. We'll find out if you're super or not.
Well, we shall see. But you
We
tell us
shall.
what you think about the Peripheral. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Let us know what you thought about this episode. But remember, if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on all of your major podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments. It's part of my best part of my day. It's the best part of my day to read.
We like reading the comments.
But
we have 5 more episodes. We have 5 more episodes on this show. It's again a short, limited season run. So 8 episodes. We got 5 more to see what questions do we get answered. Where does this story go? Do the Fletchers ever run out of money?
Apparently not. If they're giving out 2,000 a week.
The Fishers.
Is it a typo? Was he not supposed to say 200,000?
He said 200,000.
That is a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
That's more money than what clearly he was being paid to kill them, because they only gave him what?
I like the fact, and we kind of didn't talk about, but we talked about most of the things that Burton said to Pickett, but one of the things we didn't talk about was that he said, I know that you're coming after my family. I don't know how much they're paying you. The previous rate was $9 million. So if they think of anything less of you than that, then obviously they don't think too highly of you. So this shows that Burton has inside knowledge on what's going on. Obviously, like you calling me out, I'm gonna say I deny it. I don't know what you're talking about, but Burton he has received his intel. He knows what's going on. So I think that again, when the glass shattered, I think that was just Pickett's reaction. It was like, I can't believe they coming at me like this. Like, they coming for the king. And they coming to correct too. They actually have like some firepower on his side.
And he told Jasper, you seen what the town was before. Mm-hmm. He feels like they're trying to make it that again. Now, clearly that's just something to get Jasper going. But at the same time, you still have Jasper on your side justifiably, because if you look at them and see wrongdoings, it's only going to give you more reason to side with me versus using your own rationality.
Right. But we'll find out. We'll come back next time with another episode of Peripheral, episode 4. But we'll see that, and then we will see you when we break the episode down. But until then, we'll see you in the next episode.